Hi everybody, so today's video is about the overview of the trek. So we're looking at Everest Base Camp trek itself, the one that I'm doing, but the other ones that we also do, and also the area as a whole. And Vanessa has very kindly offered to join me for this video. Vanessa works in our sales team, but you've been to Nepal loads of times. You've got a lot of work in the sales team. You have a great knowledge and understanding of all our tricks, particularly the ones in Nepal. Yep. But I just want to start off with the classic ones. So I'm doing EBL, the classic route.
Yep.
But as well as EBL, we do Everest, the ultimate Everest trek.
Yep.
And we do the hard way.
Yep.
So we've got 3 routes to Everest Base Camp. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between them?
Right, okay. So I did the Ultimate Everest.
Oh, okay, cool.
Good few years ago now. The key difference with that one is you go via the Gokyo Lakes, you ascend Gokyo Ri, which is this fantastic viewpoint to see sort of the glacier that you've been trekking beside but not really seeing. And you get to see sort of Choyu, which is behind you, which is another 8,000 metre peak, and it's just stunning. You then go to cross the Chola Pass, I think it's about 5,300 metres, so that's the key difference, is doing a high pass.
Basically.
Yeah, as you get to Everest Base Camp. And then the Everest, the hard way, is you're actually crossing 3 5,000 metre passes, so you go up the wonderful quiet valley, from Tame upwards to go over the Renjola. So that's your first first box ticked. You then drop over to Gokyo and then do the Chola Pass, do Everest Base Camp, and then you come back via, I think it's the Kongmala Pass. So it does demand a bit more from you. It's a little bit longer. So they all sort of, Everest Base Camp, the one that you're doing, 16 days, Ultimate Everest, I think it's 20 days, and then an extra 2 days on that to do the Everest the hard way. So there's a level for whatever fitness you're coming from, really, or time scale that you've got to be able to.
I think that's it. These 3 routes, it kind of shows that you can pick your level.
Yeah.
We're going up because I just talking to Kit, our product manager of the trips, and he was saying that we did the ultimate, thinking that was the ultimate route we could do, and then started going, actually, there's a new route, the hard way.
Yeah.
The one thing he mentioned about the hard way that I quite liked was you can go via Sherpa Tenzing's house, basically, on the way up, which I thought was a really cool way up. If you're going to Everest Base Camp, go to visit Tenzing's house is great.
Yeah.
As well as those 3 routes, we also have some other ones. We go to Island Peak as well. So is that you trek is it EBL route sort of thing? And then
I think, and then you sort of drop to then go into a different valley to do Island Peak. Yeah. Of course, that is ultimately like 6,100 and something metres. And I think it's quite, although a fairly straightforward trekking peak, I think it is for those who've got, they love exposure because it's quite a narrow ridge on Island Peak. But we do Everest Base Camp first to aid acclimatisation. So that combination works really, really well. But that's kind of for the climbers out there.
I know, it sounds like a great route. You go to Everest and then you bag a 6,000 metre peak as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose the last one really looking at is the ultimate for fitness level, or maybe is the Everest Marathon. We've had people in the office do it. Have you done it?
I haven't. I'm going to say yes.
You
You never know. Because I would absolutely, I know I've been to Everest Base Camp, but I would absolutely go back. So to do the Everest Mountain Marathon, the key part of that is, you're going to run it. But you do get to overnight at Everest Base Camp, so you do get to camp there. You don't do that on any.
You walk up there, don't you? You walk up.
Yeah, you do. Again, to get the best acclimatisation that you can before you then do the marathon. And actually, with the marathon, you might be in a couple. One's a really keen runner, the other may not be, but you can still go together because that person can still run the marathon and their partner can still join. And basically, they'll see them when they finish across the finish line, which is a great thing to see. So you can do that if you don't want to run. That's absolutely fine.
I've been warned that it's not just a straight downhill marathon because there's a big steep
bit
uphill.
Undulation.
And it is at 5,000 metres, so it's not exactly London Marathon level.
Yeah, you'll find out what Nepali flat is when you get there, Alistair.
Well, we're in the Lake District.
On that subject, I guess the key point that I'd like to say is, like, where we're located in Keswick, our office, we overlook Skidder.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, that looks big, you know? But when you get to the Everest region and you get your first glimpse of Everest and you're at Namche Bazaar, for example, and you just see these 8,000 metre peaks and you think, wow, I'm going to get close. And it is spectacular, really.
Well, that kind of brings me on to the next bit is, why do you think people are drawn to this route, the Everest Base Camp Trek?
Yeah.
So it's a very popular route, although the EBL, the one I'm doing, the Classic, is popular. The more tough you get, the less people you get. However, it does draw people.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, it's iconic, isn't it? Who doesn't want to get to the base of the world's highest mountain? And who doesn't want to be within a few steps of the ice wall, you know, to see the crevasses, and maybe even to have apple pie at base camp if the climbers are there. That's what we did at that time of year. And who doesn't want to sort of feel really special to be in a place where, you know, they are just towering above you and you just can't get that feeling here in the UK, for example. And it's iconic, it's bucket list, but at the same time, it's very special. There's the Buddhism in terms of the Mani stones, there's the prayer flags, and there's all of the culture behind it. Who doesn't want to go there, really?
The Buddhist thing, I'm quite interested in the religious side of Buddhism. It'd be really interesting to learn a lot about different culture as well, I suppose. Yeah. So, what are the highlights? So you've done the route before, you've spoken to lots of people who've done the routes. What do you think are the highlights of the Everest Base Camp Trek?
Kala Patthar.
Okay.
So that is your peak that I think is about 5,600 metres. When you're there, it looks very small because you've got Pumori behind it, which is amazing. But you're going to walk up to 5,600 metres and then you're going to get this fantastic view of Everest Base Camp. And that's really when you'll see where you're going to be achieving, where you're going to be going to. So I think that's a highlight if you can get up and do Kala Patthar. The highlights, to be honest, are like staying in the lodges and experiencing that and understanding how those lodges have been built and the effort of the local people to construct them, to get all snuggly and warm in your sleeping bag, because obviously you're going to need that. Other highlights, I guess, nowadays are the fact that you can access Wi-Fi. So, you can stand there and share that immediately with friends and family back home. But I think highlights a lot of people take the knowledge and the passion that your guide and crew will share with you. That always comes back as a key highlight, really, is, how they enhance, the walking that you're doing, really, and how they get behind you and the crew, because it isn't easy and you'll have days where you're tired, but they'll bring you up, and, it really is just a team effort at the end of the day. Yeah.
That's great. And I suppose, I'm already planning my next trip out there. I'm so looking forward to getting over to Nepal. But if you've already done the base camp trek and you're thinking of doing something different, or you've been thinking of the base camp, but actually you fancy something slightly different. So we do lots of different trips around Everest. We've got the luxury lodge and the panoramic trip as well. So what's the luxury lodge trip like? What's that involve?
So the luxury lodge trek is all around getting spectacular views of Everest without going all the way to Everest Base Camp. It is staying in the very best type of lodges that you can in the region. So you'll have warm rooms, you'll have fresh bedding, duvets, blankets. You'll have silver service in the restaurant. It's just a different way of travel, really,
more
in that
comfortable.
sense. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no need for a sleeping bag on that. But also, you know, it is aimed at getting the best views in the best way possible. And as I say, without having to go to Everest Base Camp to do that. The other version of that, I would say, would be the Everest panorama, which again is to get to be in the valley, to meet the people, to experience what it's like to step where the climbers step, but to not go all the way to Everest Base Camp, but to see it. And again, you're still fully rewarded with that. So yeah, they're two great.
And then I suppose outside of the actual Everest route, we've got lots of other things in Nepal. So we've got the Annapurna treks, we've got Kanchenjunga, Manaslu, and you've done Annapurna last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Annapurna Sanctuary.
So what are those trips like in comparison?
The Annapurna Sanctuary in Poon Hill was incredible. And I think I've been to Nepal before, and I still think, you know, I took a lot from that. So if I was a first-time person going to Nepal, I would definitely consider the Annapurna Sanctuary, because the difference really is the lower elevation that you're going into, and some people are concerned about acclimatization. So the Annapurna Sanctuary is a good way, you know, to kind of test that, I suppose, and see how you feel, understand our grading of our holidays. But the key point is the Annapurna Sanctuary. You walk through bamboo forest, rhododendron forest, you're walking through terraced land, lots of vegetation, which you don't necessarily get on the Everest Base Camp trek because you're already flying high. There's a little bit, I think, that you get up until Namche Bazaar, but you don't really get that really village farming kind of life. Yeah. So the Annapurna Sanctuary is great for that, because then you have all of that, and then you get into the high mountain trails and you feel, on this occasion, it's the Annapurnas around you. Again, another great mountain range. So I suppose it's just a decision. Do you really want to see Everest? Or are you happy to expand, you know, beyond that? And the Annapurna Sanctuary is great just to show off everything that Nepal has to offer, whether it's your first time or it's your third time. I think it just gives you an idea of where to spin from there, really, and where to go next and explore in Nepal. Before that, it was the Dhaulagiri Base Camp trek. So that was a wilder, more remote experience. That was camping. That was like really low freezing temperatures, like -17 in your tent. So that was a lot more remote. But yeah, we've got lots of different itineraries which will tick lots of different boxes depending on whether it's your first time, or like a lot of our customers, it could possibly be your 20th time. So yeah, Nepal's definitely got something for everyone there.
Oh, great. Yeah. No, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm just so buzzing.
Awesome.
I can't wait to get out there. Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. I hope that is of interest and hope it helps. If you have any questions, call Vanessa. She's in the sales team. But yeah, thanks a lot.
Delighted to help. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Bye.